It's time for something a little bit different. The Pro League is now time to see Fnatic go up against NaVi. No doubt going to be one of those hot matches that we do get rather excited about. Got Yanko and Henry hanging out.
Potentially a good game.
Potentially. Well, what's getting you a little apprehensive? The fact that we haven't seen too much of Fnatic?
Yeah, I think that's the problem, right? NaVi seem to be on an ascendance right now, and Fnatic, we always said they're a slow burner. They're still working out the roles and kind of getting vented into the in-game leading role as well. So I think it's a pretty clean-cut conclusion. NaVi will win, but I hope Fnatic can give them a good run. That's what I'm hoping for.
A clean-cut conclusion. Yanko, you seem to reiterate his thoughts there?
Yeah, I think it's actually a good thing for Fnatic. The only games we've seen them play are the ones in Pro League, right? And
yeah, that's right.
They had a lot of time to practice. I think I even saw Vugo tweet out Jumpy setting up for the boot camp. So I don't know if all the Fnatic players are boot camping or if they're there yet, but probably preparing for New York. In any case, I think it's, as I said, extremely beneficial for them that they had more time for just practicing, getting the new strategies, widening their map pool, because initially in Pro League we only saw them play Cash and Dust 2.
Yeah, and a little bit of Cobble as well, I believe.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what's so crazy is that we haven't seen much of this roster. I mean, we've seen so much from Godsent. This is the point we made in the pre-show, and of course it's not been great.
Yeah, everyone's expecting them to be the hot out of the trap and ready to go, right? And yeah, absolutely, but they failed to get into E-League. They're not getting deep in these tournaments, just been knocked out of Gfinity as well. These are the tournaments we're expecting them to win.
Pro League,
just go in last place.
I mean, you've got
the E-League losing to Alternate of all teams.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's nuts.
It's something that you would, let's say if you told me that the old Fnatic team, even if like Schneider was standing in for that team and they lose to Alternate Attacks, I would be like, nah, get out. Yeah. Like, did they get DDoSed or something?
Bearing in mind, Alternate Attacks are a team that you will see in the German Premiership, and they will not make it past the quarters or the semis. You know, that this is a team that they are not even the best in their region, and yet they sit there and flex and pick up the win versus a stacked Godsent roster. And it is stacked, there's no doubt about it, but that is not what we're talking about today.
It's not, but it's interesting.
It is. It certainly is. So let's kind of address the elephant in the room that is the Fnatic roster as a whole. You said already that it is, you know, Went and Lekro are the lesser known names.
Yes.
So do we see them as weaknesses within that roster?
Definitely not.
Okay.
I don't think they're weaknesses. I think Twist has proven himself throughout the years to be a fantastic player. A little bit hit and miss in terms of his role. Sometimes he's known as like a really world-class AWPer, and sometimes now he's not even using that weapon. It's kind of still very impactful and very good. Lekro, on the other hand, it's great to have some new blood in CSGO. Someone who's come from out of nowhere and seems to be very talented. He's going to have a lot of hunger. We've said it before on this desk. We've interviewed him. We kind of learned about his past and where he's come from. His very humble beginnings, and now he's playing for one of the most prestigious orgs in the world. He's not going to let that opportunity slip away. And sometimes it's nice to have these younger players who really want this win and want to actually prove themselves in the world scene instead of actually being a little bit jaded and had all the opportunities thrown their way throughout the years. I definitely don't think it's detrimental. I think it's good to have someone like Dennis, Olofmeister showing them the way with their experience, nurturing these players and bringing them up to a level where they can actually be world-class superstars. And they definitely have the talent to do that, especially Lekro. I'm very excited to see what he brings to New York and what other future events have got coming up as well.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Malmo was the last time we kind of saw, you know, him get his first experience in that offline event, and now we get to see him in New York, which is just around the corner. Cheeky plug, ESL-1.com.
We're all going to be there.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll say hello. We can go hang out in the Big Apple together. You're going in a helicopter. I want to go in a helicopter. He's making plans. He's having a holiday.
Go in a helicopter.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
I'm excited.
Do you want to be in a helicopter? Come hang out with us. You can, you know, treat me.
As long as you're paying, Alex will be up for it. He'll take anyone's money.
That's nice to me. But the Lekro storyline, just to come back to that for a moment, right? We have this lovely, lovely kind of well, I mean, it's a bit of a discrepancy, isn't it? You've got Olofmeister, previously seen as the best player in the world. He's a Swede. He's rocked and rolled. He's made, you know, he's made all these records. He's been at the top of the scoreboard numerous times in the world-class events versus world-class teams. And you have Lekro, who was sitting there not too long ago, sitting there like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm going to work in a shop for a bit. I'm just going to try. You know that feeling. We've all been there when you're 16, 17. You're like, what do I want to do with my life?
He's 23, to be fair.
Okay, but I acknowledge that,
yes,
but it's usually around 16, 17 when you sit there and you go, I don't know what I want to do. I'll just try this for a bit. And now he's just, you know, he's basically watched these guys play CS, play his favorite game. He started playing it a bit more, and turns out he's pretty damn good at it. And now he's in a team with them. I don't know. I'm a sucker for a storyline like Lekro's, and now we get to see how far he can grow and kind of flourish. But you can't help but feel that when you see this roster in their current form, they've lost to Astralis and Dignitas recently, rather convincingly. It's all pointing towards NaVi, right, Yanko? Like these guys should be. Are we talking stomping here, or do you think they can put up a fight?
I don't think stomping is really a probability because these players are extremely skilled individually, right? And seeing as how the first map is trained, the CT side, it's an easier side to play. You can definitely rack up some rounds. The problem I have is that Fnatic doesn't really seem to play train as of just yet. They only played it once last week and they lost. So I would definitely consider NaVi favorites on the first map.
The first map, at least.
What is the first map?
Train.
Train.
But I mean, when you're a new team, it's not the first map on your kind of to-do list,
definitely
is it?
not. But we know they're working very hard behind the scenes. It's not like they're only playing Pro League, right? They're obviously doing a lot of practice as well. It's difficult to speculate what maps they're actually training on, and I'm sure they're going to be ready for this game. It's not like it'd be a surprise to them the way Pro League works. You know the map in advance, right? So I'm sure they're going to be using this as a good opportunity, like we said, to get the map all deeper for events like New York, and for us to predict or analyze or give you any sort of conclusion how to play. Fnatic in the past were a very good trained team, and I'm sure they'll be using those fundamentals and those roles. Their advantage, obviously, they have to play the map, and it won't take that long, a couple of weeks to sort it out. And
I have some proper analysis for you, Henry. So last week, Fnatic lost to Astralis 1917 on train,
right?
But NaVi beat Astralis 16-7, I think.
Right,
so obviously NaVi will beat Fnatic as well.
Obviously.
That's how it works, right? That's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
Directly. But I mean, it is always interesting when we start talking about practice and behind the scenes, because it's stuff that we don't see. It's stuff that's not broadcast. And I mean, I personally, I don't know what the kind of the structure is, the way these pro teams actually organize their scrims and their practice. I don't know how much is actually shown in these practices and scrims.
Sure.
So my question to you, Henry and Janko, is, you know, how much can they really gain? Yes, they can do their dry runs. Yes, they can have their strats in their playbook. But do you not think that games like these are where they actually do a lot? There's a lot more learning done.
There's obviously a lot more learning done. We talked about this before, and the practice online is normally just to refine everything. You're not playing to win, right? We've kind of discussed this idea before.
You're 30 rounds. And
like you're not necessarily doing everything you would and changing calls on the fly. You're kind of trying to refine like you said, the dry runs and kind of get everything perfect and get the roles sorted as a whole. It's these games which are very beneficial for a team going forward, because it's actually where you learn from the mistakes and some of the stuff that's going wrong, and you're actually trying to adjust your game as it goes on to try and make yourself actually succeed in the victory, right? But the practice it's difficult to get that much out of it. You're just trying to make sure everything's kind of calculated and worked out in the way you want it to be going forward. And then obviously these games, the officials, that's when the younger players can get more experience in high pressure situations. You don't necessarily have the same confidence going forward in the practice like you would in a practice game into these ones when it actually matters, you know? So it's difficult to gauge too much from your success and your PTWs and stuff like that.
Well, that's going to be a real, an intriguing aspect as well, just to see what on earth Fnatic can do. Because I love that we have these instances now here in the Pro League. Admittedly, it will be the same perhaps for them in New York, but we do have this opportunity to just sit there and go, we're not 100% sure what form these guys are in, what form they could be in.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that will be, explored into this match. It does seem like Fnatic haven't actually showed up to play yet. We don't know where they are. So if you find,
I just had that as well. They're just not here.
If you guys can, if you see Fnatic, if you're popping to the shops, if you guys are outside watching this on the bus, if you do see Olofmeister hanging around,
someone's in the studio shouting. So maybe they've turned up.
Maybe. Do you think he's here?
He might be.
Olof?
I heard some shout.
No,
it's
Sadicus. It's Sadicus, yeah.
Right,
okay.
Probably watching a race or something.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, no, he's watching a stream. He's getting really into it. He's probably watching some sweet Overwatch or something.
But I mean, I think when you talk about practice nowadays for these top teams, it's also, you look at a team like VP or a team like Astralis, they've been together for a long time and have a pretty deep map pool. I think for them is more nailing down the mistakes, seeing what their weak points are, and working on their game so that they're not as easily readable, right? They try to look and see, okay, do we have patterns in our game on this map? Is that maybe why we're losing? You know, people are always on the right bomb site when they play against us, because they know they've gone through all the defaults on maps, a couple of strategies, right? They have the brunt of the work done. Then it's those small nuances that you need to work on that really comes down to the highest level of CS and the mind games and everything, right? To see, okay, so we've been repeating the same thing. When we have an advantage, 9 out of 10 times we go A, right? So let's try and mix things up a bit.
Yeah, reducing your readability is something that I think it's probably something that comes last in as you said.
Definitely, because there's so many things you need to get done to get to that level, so that that becomes your problem. But when you have VP's been together for more than 3 years, the same lineup, playing the same maps all the time. Pasha, I think just at Bucharest, played his thousandth map in CSGO.
Was it 1,000 or 2,000?
1,000.
Okay.
1,000. Now you're not disappointed.
I thought it was 2,000.
Oh, only 1,000?
Yeah, I thought it was 2.
It's 1,000 hours of competitive CS minimum.
minimum.
Not bad. I mean, that's pretty incredible, and of course at the highest level. Now, the other storyline that we often kind of do skip over, it's something we haven't talked about for a while. It can sometimes feel like we do fall into the same, you're in a ruts when you do see the same teams every day in, day out.
Oh, yeah.
But Mr. Simple.
Okay.
And his arrival in NaVi is something we've addressed with a double AWP. But in terms of as a personality and in terms of his prospects and his future, I do think that's something that can be explored just a little bit more before we do take a break to try and find Fnatic.
Yeah.
Let's just kind of start the discussion then. Simple, as a player, was off. I think he actually split a lot of opinion. Some members of analyst desk just felt like he was just a toxic kid who had good aim and didn't have much future in the game. Others realized that there was something more to him. Do you think this is the perfect environment for him? Do you think this is where we get the ultimate form of Simple? This is where he goes, over 9,000?
I'm not sure if this is going to be his ultimate form, but definitely the most comfortable he will be. Probably not just in-game, but outside of the game as well. Sure. Obviously, that was the main problem with Liquid, him being tired of living in North America, away from his friends, parents, family, and all of that. So I think he has all the ingredients for success right now. The question whether it will work doesn't only rely on him, right? It's a team game. So, but yeah, it's looking really good for them.
You have to remember he's 18 years old still. Like it's crazy
really
to think.
Young?
I think so. I think he's still 18.
I wonder if he's
maybe
got his
19.
birthday. Hang on.
Have a look.
18 years old. God,
yeah, it's nuts, right?
That's
like
insane.
You think back to how much he's done in his career so far and how infamous he's become within CS:GO. It's still very early days for him as a man, as a player. He's still learning every day. I think we can all relate to being 18 years old and not maybe being 100% the man you are today, Alex.
Being 18 years old and not only that, but flying to North America, living in North America.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Trying to get on with new people, working with colleagues. This whole developing working relationships thing, like that's something you don't really you're not great at when you're 18.
Discussion, something like out of the game, obviously, but still something you have to consider. It's kind of why we have these correlations between his age and his attitude, perhaps. And I feel like under the wing of these kind of more experienced players he certainly respects, and people from his own nations and stuff, he's not forced to speak in another language. He's in his mother tongue. I think like this is the perfect environment for him. And interactions I've had with him since he's joined NaVi at events and stuff like that, he seems very comfortable. He seems very relaxed. And even though they weren't winning the events and they were losing games, he seemed calm. He wasn't exploding after each round. He was willing to take responsibility for his own mistakes. He wasn't blaming other people, which seems very positive for him going forward. So in terms of this working out for him, and we'll see what works out. But I'm quietly confident. Confident, yeah, I guess is the right word. Okay, so you've got some belief in Simple in NaVi. It does seem like everyone is kind of starting to get a little excited to see what they can muster as the big events are just around the corner. I'm just ecstatic that we're going to be in the Big Apple next week. That's the next big event for us. But the next big game is actually right here, right now. Fnatic and NaVi are almost ready. We found them. The Swedes have arrived. Yeah, that is a good thing. So just before we do throw the casters onto your screen, we just want a quick prediction. You guys both said NaVi before. Is that? I feel like that's a sensible outcome here for Train with NaVi. I think it'll be a competitive game. I think Fnatic will double figures, but NaVi to take it.
I'm going with NaVi, but I'm interested to see the approach of Fnatic on the CT side. How will they combat NaVi's default? And I wouldn't be surprised if I see some aggression towards Ivy or towards the inner bomb side.
Get to see some more aggression, a bit more spring in the step of both teams. We'll have a look how it plays out now as it is time for Train, our third game of the night. And now to your casters, it's none other than Sponge and Uber.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yes, Fnatic scant minutes from being having to forfeit the first map, but they managed to get in towards the server, and we at least have a game on our hands. Good to have you back. Sponge, going into Train here, going to be a curious affair, as we know that NaVi have been incredibly dominant on this map, especially in recent times. I mean, this and Overpass kind of been their bread and butter. Not so much Cobblestone, you might say, but we got an interesting sort of AWPing dynamic on this map as well, I think it's safe to say. Yeah, well, undefeated on this map since Simple's joined the roster. It's a pretty good resume, really, for the map. And the way that it can work with Guardian and Simple being able to take two AWPs, you can even run one AWP AWPing up low ramp, one AWP in the yard, run two AWPs in the yard. It's very effective. If you know how to play your rotations around those AWPs, and when the smoke strats come in, the AWPers need to know they have to play a bit more reserved, wait for the people to push through the smoke, and then play the retake. It's a very effective setup. A good thing as well that I've noticed with NaVi, with the two AWP setup, is they can run one AWP. As soon as Guardian dies, Simple's getting that thing in his hands, and he's going nuts with it as well. So they can use those two players very dynamically. I think both players can rifle quite well. So they have a lot of depth in the way that NaVi can play and address the game on their T side and their CT side. One of the reasons one of the admissions we've kind of made for this new Fnatic roster in terms of maybe some weaker performances from them, and is that they're maybe still developing their map pool. Of course, when you've got such a big change in players, you don't pick up where you left off from the previous iteration of the team. You have to go from scratch and build your map pool up. Would you expect this to be one of the maps that sort of Fnatic would have been looking at specifically, is only playing a lot of online CS recently?
So they said on the desk that this probably isn't one of the maps that you start with when you're building, because this is bare bones, this team, right?
Sure.
They had 2 members remaining and then brought in 2 new ones, and then they had a guy that was a bit of a ringer, right? So that's this team composition. Now, you have to start from fresh, really. You don't have anything to build on. People have to play new spots. You need to make sure everyone's comfortable with their roles in the team and see how the cohesion goes. You know, you need a little bit of teething time to get through that.
Right.
Train is a map where players like Dennis, Olaf, and Twist can thrive. I remember Twist back on the original Train, back at MSI Beta. We played them when he was in SK, and we were still Vox Eminor at that time. He absolutely destroyed us, running around with the orb, getting it done. And you know, if those players can find a bit of explosive form and play in and around the smokes, which these guys are well known for, it can be an effective map for them. The problem is, if they're not structured, on the desk they were talking about aggression on that CT side. You need to have structure on your CT side and on your T side, because you have to wait out utility on this map. The choke points are quite small. Ivy, mid-con, inside can all be stopped with a Molotov, you know, a smoke. That kind of stuff will slow them right down. So, as much as I can't see it as a map that, you know, they would have picked up first, it's a map that they definitely can have success on. They have 3 players who are utilities, jacks of all trades. They can AWP, they can rifle, they can pistol well. So I'd really be looking out for the AWP dynamic on this. Who's going to pick it up? I think
Sure.
Twist definitely, and then it's a question of who's feeling it out of Olaf and Dennis.
And of course, curiously, the pistol rounds are definitely something worth looking at here. We know what Dennis has sort of been able to produce from us on these sort of situations. So I think we're still waiting for Twist to join up on into the server. But again, NaVi dominant on this map so far. It's been said that maybe this is not the first port of call. This is not a map that you look to shore up when you're just starting to build as well. But again, there's a grace period we've sort of given it Fnatic, and they've actually sort of, you know, exceeded themselves in that regard. If you want to make the comparison, you know, who survived the breakup? You know, it's like a Brangelina situation. Who gets off better between them and Godsent? Well, obviously a lot of shtick has been put in the direction of Godsent here, but Fnatic have seemed to be relatively robust so far in the Pro League.
Well, this is the thing, right? Godsent have gone out and tried to play every event under the sun, because the only thing they had under their belt was Pro League, was E-League. Not E-League, what am I saying? Was the next major.
Yeah.
They didn't make it to E-League, and they didn't make it into Pro League. That's where I was going with that.
Right.
Those are 2 events that they tried to get into, and they were unable to qualify for. So their, you know, not having success is they basically became a new team. They tried to do all this so quickly, they were unable to do so, and their results are reflecting poorly because of that. So people are sitting there and going, wow, these guys suck. But really, they're under the same development phase as Fnatic are. Fnatic are just focusing on Pro League at the moment. That's all that they have to worry about until ESL New York.
What do you think, though, about a new team hammering out the offline events, you know, in a very developmental, very sort of building up period when they sort of put themselves in the spotlight and under the lights to sort of play in that environment? Would you rather they sort of maybe took the Fnatic approach and focused on the online CS and the fundamentals first?
The problem is they had to qualify for a league, right? They weren't in any leagues as far as I was aware. So they wanted to get into at least one of them. It just, you know, didn't happen for them. So the good thing with Fnatic is they were lucky that the decision went with them keeping the spot for Pro League.
Yep.
And like, I like the Fnatic model and what they're doing. They're only focusing on this one league, and it gives them a lot more time to practice. They can look at their matches, they can prepare for them. You know, bringing in Jumpy as the coach as well, it's a new role for him. So the whole team is fresh. This is, you know, ground up kind of team, and you don't expect that from the Fnatic name. So it's hard to argue, because you knew Godsent had to play events to get themselves in something. It just hasn't worked out for them yet. So maybe if they get a bit of time off where they can sit back and work on Counter-Strike. They're very, very frustrated. When you follow them on Twitter and you see their tweets, they want the best, and they know that they're practicing to be the best. It's just not clicking for them right now.
Well, they need to build, but for now, let's set our sights towards this match. We're going to kick things off here with Fnatic on the CT side, going into the pistol. Everyone is finally ready to go and ready to rumble. It's our first map of 2 between these 2. We consider them separate best of 1s, though, for the purposes of score keeping. And now we're going to be jumping in here as well. So let's keep our eyes towards Dennis, of course, as an interesting factor in these pistol rounds. Maybe we're pushing it, maybe it's a little bit cliched, but sometimes he just keeps doing the same kind of thing and bringing out the magic when it comes to the pistols here. So NaVi on the T side actually sending 3 players in towards Ivy here, and Twist might have a bit of a rude awakening in a moment.
Looks like they want to try and do an in-split considering the utility on C's, and they're in a battle right now. Dennis is baiting for Twist, and Twist could pick up a couple of nice frags here. We'll get one, gets taken down by Flamey.
The best he's going to get, just the 1 kill. And Lekko actually just being able to back away. That was on the B side. He pushed in towards Brown Horse and got himself a kill. So that now loosens things up a little bit for Fnatic over the map. Perhaps reduces that pressure somewhat. Flamey's trying to forge ahead, trying to at least get some real estate here, but he's been forced back quite early on by Dennis. Not a player you want to meet in a dark alley with a pistol in his hand, that's for sure. And now, Simple on this side. We're going to see C's come in from the T tunnel and try and work on towards this side. But again, with only 2 players to work with, they are eventually going to run out of steam. Now C's has the challenge. He at least has the bomb, but there are 4 players from Fnatic to deal with him, and Wenton will get the final kill. It's teammates for Fnatic and a solid pistol to kick things off.
With the Glocks, you want to like close down as much space as possible. They were never given that chance. At Ivy there, they got shut down because of that bait setup, and then they went out one by one against USPs. You never want to do that, especially in a long-range map like Train.
Yeah, well, it's pretty scary to push into that situation. I mean, headshots with the Glock could still be pretty nasty there, but hitting them is another story in itself. So it's not even a one-shot kill. That's the big difference, I guess, between those pistols. But speaking of which, Simple going to go in for a deagle here. Doesn't quite connect that first shot and takes a little bit of damage as a result. NaVi split a little bit here with 2 players towards Ivy, and the bomb sort of being left back towards spawn at this stage. They're going to try and make some picks and make some inroads. Everyone has themselves a hand cannon right now. So NaVi banking on their ability to hit those headshots and to clean Fnatic off the map as quickly as they can.
With the deagles right now, as Simple goes down, you need to make sure you give your teammates enough time to wait out their early utility and then go for a pick. But it looks like Simple got a little bit too greedy there in team mid. They found him out, and they're going to go towards inside. Not a great place to take deagles because it's very, very close range once you go down that low ramp.
Yeah, once you hit spools, you're going to have to spam away at those ones, but C still making use of the long range, keeps Lekr at arm's length and then deals with him accordingly. Olofmeister's the only player on B at this stage, and Fnatic a little bit slow in reacting to this. It's a bomb plant now. This is a great result for NaVi, considering. So 4 players up now with the Deagles, going to set themselves on towards his side. Wenton peeks in from connected. Twist, though, is going to be the one to find Flamey, and now Olofmeister is ready to activate, but he's almost not required at this stage. It's Edward on his own now. Nice little Deagle headshot there as well. Hopes for a second, and he gets it, but that is all the man is going to get away with here. But 3 kills and a bomb plant for NaVi. Definitely not a terrible Deagle buy up into this round.
They'll be happy with how much they hurt Fnatic's economy there. And, you know, some teams may potentially go for like a Tech-9 force buy here and do a set execute. You just took away quite a few rifles, took away a lot of utility, and they're only going to be able to rebuy potentially rifles without Kevlar, head armor, or SMGs once more, and you can easily take them on with Tech-9s.
Yeah, that's big for when you might only be able to get pistols or those weaker guns in here as well.
They are going to buy.
Helmets for all Fnatic, yeah. The buy comes in as well here on the side of NaVi. You can see they're spending up all that money. Guardian gets himself a scout. 2 Galils and 2 AKs in the mix here. This leaves NaVi very, very thin on utility. Just a couple flashes and a smoke on Seized is all they're going to be working with here. And not a lot of armor on Guardian here, but the scout will allow him to do a little bit of work from long range and keep himself out of the firefight. Fnatic will be set up here. Again, NaVi, what can they really put together with this utility, chat?
The fact that they have 4 real rifles and that scout, it's going to catch Fnatic off guard. So they are going to take it slow, but Fnatic probably didn't set themselves up expecting this buy. They just have to wait out utility, you know, run down the clock, and from there they can start making a play and use the range of their guns.
So it is the waiting game on now for NaVi. You can see them as well. Not really too keen to make any big moves in towards the middle of the map, especially not towards that A site. Dennis just watching the corner here over towards Pop Dog. That's Edward and Simple inside. Now they're going to peek onto this one. Dennis gets the first. Edward falls down quite quickly. He may not be sure if Simple's there, but he's going to keep his crosshairs trained. He, in fact, doesn't actually get the kill. And Wenton, interesting enough, there may have been shot from behind. Yes, he's going to get pinched on in a couple of moments here. Fnatic need to move fairly quickly. At least they need to respond to this push, but Seas comes in. Wenton falls, and then Twister's going to respond. Olofmeister, though, will hold down the fort over on the side. He still gets traded out, though. Simple had a nice little angle to come from. But again, trade for trade for trade. It's Twister finds Simple, now Guardian on his own. NaVi buy up into that round. Not even a plant for them here.
Fnatic were very rooted back in that bomb site. They sat back. They knew that if an execute came in, that they could play around the smokes. And luckily enough, it didn't. And they were able to just pick the NaVi players off one at a time. Twist did a really good job from the back alley there, the dark side. He was able to pick up 2 nice kills, and that really stunted NaVi's push into the yard.
So for NaVi there as well, you said you wanted to see them wait out the utility. You sort of happy on the way that they went into that push?
Yeah, the timing was good. They just got a bit unlucky there. You know, Twist, I think Twist killed Seas through just a wisp of the smoke as it was clearing. So a little bit of timing there went in the favor of Twist. They traded out pretty well. It was just the guy who was left last alive was Guardian. He only had a scout and no head armor.
Well, here comes the execute on towards the side here. It's Tech 9 for Edward and his pistols for the rest of the NaVi squad. And Dennis has a decent little position up here in heaven. The flash will effective, but then he's going to see a whole swarm of Fnatic players moving on towards the side, hopefully to back him up here, as NaVi, in fact, have already set themselves here. Bomb going to get planted right under their noses, but Fnatic are able to peek in and get some of these kills off of the back of it here. It's been a weird couple rounds, Chad. I mean, with NaVi not actually having a proper buy, really, if you consider the last round, it was a bit messy. Now, 4 rounds go by, and we haven't really seen them actually get decent weapons and full utility under their belt. Yeah,
well, when you have 2 really good AWPers, you want to get it in their hands as quickly as possible. We might see that now. The problem that I have with what Fnatic is doing is it's great, you know, to let the team take the bomb site and plant if you're happy that you're going to retake it every time, but you're giving NaVi a lot of money. They're probably going to get a lot more gun rounds out of this if you keep letting them plant.
Sometimes the retake, yeah, not great in that regard, especially when those Ts are often looking for a little bit of extra kickback or a little bit of extra cash to come through. Now, this is a bit more of a, I guess, a less static execute here. You can see the nades coming over a little bit more hurried, and Twist gets right up by the smoke. This is a pretty dangerous spot for him. Then Dennis gets sprayed down through the smoke. No, it was actually seized on top of the bin, managed to see over the top. Twist very, very low. That's not where you want to be caught. It's like being in a magician's box, and the knives get slid on in. And now 3 for Fnatic.
Once Seized and Flamey gets to the end of Ivy here, this is when they should really pincer on Wenton and Olaf, and it looks like they're taking the bomb back towards inside. Olaf's going to make a nice pick there. That's such a good spot to look over smokes when the execute comes in.
Was that overcommitting, I guess, towards Ivy there from Twist and Dennis, do you feel?
Well, the kill over the smoke, you know, they got a bit unlucky. He stood out in the open for far too long. Twist could have heard it, and then he got spammed through the smoke. Twist had no reason to spam back. Oof.
Not bad from Flamey there, back down Ivy. So, I mean, we're seeing NaVi here as well, able to pick at the fraying edges of Fnatic's lineup. But look at the Simple getting behind Olafmeister.
He's going to do it. He's going to knife him. He loves this kind of play, Simple.
Well, extra money. I mean, who's complaining now that NaVi kind of had a bit of, well, some issues building that one up early on. Also, the position of the dropped AWP will be noted if they want to get double AWP in the next round of the T side, so probably not, but still, it's always an option if Simple wants to get his hands dirty and go for the flashy stuff. And Necro, straight out of FPL and into the fire now, up against 4. And nothing but the M4 now to defend himself. Bomb planted at B. Not a great place to really have to save from, but again, we'll see if NaVi check this.
I can just imagine Simple's grin after knifing Olaf there. He's just thinking, that's nice, juicy little kill there.
Not only the knife, but who it was on as well.
Yeah, he thrives on that stuff, you know. That's the stuff that gets him going.
Momentum Blaze player, though. We've seen him, especially at majors, in just that way. Often the saving grace or even the spearhead of Liquid at previous major endeavours. Now Lekra in a position at least to get one more kill. He should be able to survive this one. Backing away, slinking into the darkness. But no, Guardian sees him there. Catches him out with the AWP, and that's NaVi. Get themselves the first round on the board there. Just chomping at the bit, going around the edges of the Fnatic.
Yeah, just to note, because Olaf bought an AWP in that round and he had died a couple of times, his financial situation is very poor. They've been able to drop him a FAMAS, but he only had $1,500. The money on the CT is already starting to bleed out.
Well, those couple plants there for NaVi, and obviously being able to inflict a decent amount of damage in the prior rounds, puts himself now in a bit more of a demanding position. Bomb's still being left back for NaVi at this stage, though. You can see that. That's over in towards spawn, and they will play this one out a little bit more slowly. It's going to be Lekro to smoke things off here on B to kick it in. And Dennis and Wenton have relatively advanced positions over on A. You can see the minimap, no one's sitting back towards the actual site itself. Just want to catch out the first pushes here as a couple smokes will come in.
Being this close, it's really it's advantageous because you can hear a lot on the map as well. You can hear people in brown and white walls. You can hear people running back from Ivy if they're there early in the round. So not only is it an aggressive position to catch people off guard, if people are lazy and they're not using the shift key properly, you can pick up a lot of sound cues, and that can help in giving information to your teammates.
Something you don't always notice, in fact, just watching a broadcast, maybe listening, and maybe players sort of put themselves in spots. So I see it actually happen on A-Long, on Cobblestone a bit as well. People stick themselves right up in the corner, and they're not just looking at the wall, they are trying to find those sound cues. So a little bit of a late round execute here from NaVi. This is very much what we expect to see from this team. They like to play it slow. They like to see what they can get first, but now have to go 5v5 clean into this.
Yeah, this aggressive setup is a really good way to stop this execute because they're going to expect you to be behind the smokes. Dennis is in front of it here, and so is Wenton. Oh, being mollied out. That's a great Molotov.
Yeah, nicely done there. But Dennis gets the double spray on towards Seized and Flamey. He's eventually, his streak is put to rest, but Edward's still able to rescue the bomb and get over towards that site now. It's going to be Olafmeister playing close. Olafmeister now playing dead. No, he's not faking it. He's actually gone. And Lekro, with a bit of smoke, it now clears, and he's very, very much trapped here. He needs to rely on Twist to help him from the backside, but Twist didn't have the angle. No way was he able to capitalize there, or at least give the support that was required. And now Twist just has to look pretty much forlornly over at this site and realise that there's no real way that he can save Fnatic from this one.
That was a bit unlucky there for Wenton. You know, NaVi very thorough using that Molotov there. A lot of teams won't do that.
That really messed him up.
Yeah, a lot of teams won't bother Molotoving that spot. They'll hope the flashes do the work and come out and, you know, probably a 1-for-1 trade in that situation. But that molly forced him out of position and they knew that it was coming, able to take him down nice and easily, and now Twist just has to hold on to that AWP.
And like we said, you already highlighted at the start of the round, Chad, money not exactly flowing like the rivers of Babylon for Fnatic. Olofmeister himself had to go to nothing but a Famis in this particular round, and it didn't do him too much good at close range. And yep, there it is. Those 2K levels of money for Fnatic is a ill omen. At least Twist was able to save the AWP. He himself will probably hold on to it at this stage, but again, will there be a force around it? Maybe a deagle in here or there, but pretty much nothing. Pretty much a bit of an eco to try and facilitate or back Twist up here on the AWP. So we'll see if he can really have any impact. It might be an early peek here towards brown holes.
Yeah, so NaVi will know that they're on eco now. The thing for the future rounds is, do Fnatic buy next round? They're not going to have a lot of utility, or do they do the double save? You could probably get away with buying next round and just play heads-up counter. That's such a good pick.
Oh, he had the off angle as well.
It's a really good pick, that one. And people might know it's coming, but it's one of the few AWP lines, I feel, in CSGO where the person standing still actually has the advantage. It's really weird. If you go to Ivy on this map and you're an AWPer and you stand on the left or right side as a CT, when the T jumps across to pick, we practice it a lot. It always seems like the terrorist has the advantage when picking that line.
Well, the fact that Twist was actually looking at the back railing and not at the tight right corner there as well, managed to just make a small correction in that split second. Guardian not going to be pleased about that one, safe to say. Simple though, like we said, he's always going to be able to pick up the AWP if it is eventually dropped, and NaVi want to persist on their push on towards the B site now. With Twist initially over at the site, he's moved elsewhere over towards watching A. So now there's going to be 4 players here for Fnatic. They've read this well, but nothing but USPs and a digger to work with. This could be pretty nasty now. Seas wants to challenge, gets dinked immediately, not bad at all. Simple though does get the shot. We know what kind of a battle AWPer he can be, but he may not be required in this case. Dennis trying to make ends meet at close range with the deagle, not going to get the job done. And now Twist in a 1v2, very doable for the man, especially given that he knows approximately where NaVi were, but Simple, nicely done. That's that double facet of the AWPing capability we're seeing on NaVi. Sure, they're probably not going to go into a round with double AWPs, but if Simple can pick up Guardian's dropped weapon and make that happen, it's definitely a boon for your team.
Yeah, and he does really well with it. They're getting 2 kills into that site and securing the round pretty much for NaVi. The thing I want to know is Twist went aggressive with the AWP towards inside and was able to get a kill. You see this happen a lot with a saved weapon. It'll always, or most of the time, it'll get rotated back to the other side because you assume you've scared them away from that bomb side. And they're like, this is where the AWP is or the rifle is. Let's go to the other side. NaVi knew that was the situation and took the gamble, went inside, only found themselves having to come up against a few pistols.
That's a really interesting read there. I mean, NaVi sort of managing to win the fake-out war. So Twist this time actually just controls Ivy really nicely. Seas fell there. The smoke was up, so as far as we have seen, it could have just been Twist spraying down through it. I don't know if Seas peaked above the top of it, but regardless, Twist now free to go and do other things now.
The way that he plays Ivy is quite aggressive. You see a lot of people willing to give up that territory, and when they get mollied and smoked off, they just let it happen. The problem with letting a T-side team do that early in the round is they can then dictate the pace and they can use that to exploit you later in the round. Twist is having none of that. He's stopping them. He's putting up an aggressive fight, and as long as he's able to inflict damage and scare them away, it means that Ivy is going to be, you know, a tender spot for NaVi. It's somewhere that they have to send more numbers to deal with him.
Guardian there, spray coming across him, but it was actually Flamey that was felled by the shots from Wenton. Again, that advanced positioning. He has to back away, but Edward's going to catch him in the back heel as he moves. Dennis, going to survive there. Edward not quite able to get the crosshair over him for a bit of tapping away, but it's being traded back and forth here. Olofmeister comes through, a lot of damage on towards Guardian, but now the man with the AWP has had time to respond. Instead, he's thrown a Molotov into Pop Dog, where no one's really going to be pushing out from, and there are a lot of angles for him to watch. But Simple now going to come in, going to try and save this one for NaVi. Spray down, going to work, gets himself the second, but Guardian's already fallen, and now the 1v1 it's Simple versus Olofmeister, the Redux. This time Simple with 3 kills under his belt already, looking for Olof, but no, he is shut down. The grizzled veteran Olof says no and turns his back on that one. So Fnatic go to 5 here, and NaVi still have the money to keep working.
Yeah, but look at Fnatic's money on the other hand. What are we looking at? 3.5 to 3.8, and they won the round. They need to do something aggressive right now. I want to see them, you know, with whatever they can pick up, push as a unit and try and catch NaVi off guard. You see them defaulting right now is a great chance to take a risk. You don't want to sit back with those umps. If they go to a long range, like if they put you in a long range situation, you're definitely not winning.
Molotov thrown in there. Guardian going to be denied that early aggression, that step towards the site in the opening second. Twist again, this aggression out of Ivy paying off yet again with nothing of the UMP. Now Flash to try and cover his trail, and Flamey is completely blind. However, Twist won't look to capitalize on it just yet. He follows the second in, or decides to back out. There was a flash thrown over bot for him by Dennis. And another one, so many flashes. Fnatic, their focus on this part of the map has definitely paid dividends here. As NaVi come in, arguably the better bought up team, but get nothing for it. Just the one kill on towards Twist, who is definitely the blunt object to be used there at Ivy.
They need to deal with him because he is a menace right now. With the AWP, I don't think we'll see him being that aggressive through the smoke, so they're lucky that he grabbed one of those bad boys. But he's running through NaVi at Vines.
He had a lot of backup, to be fair, but
popping it. Well, you know, you don't see that really. We don't really talk about the flashes from his teammates, but they facilitate him to be able to get those kills. They're just as important as him clicking and shooting the other guy in the head.
Yeah. But that aggression, you know, Fnatic really make it very, very clear to NaVi that they're not going to allow any easy passage through that part of the map, which is huge. It's super annoying on the CT side, well, to be fair, even the T side, to play through Ivy. It's quite frustrating and difficult. It is just one long corridor, so that has now been sort of remediated to a great degree. And Twist, of course, can still take the AWP here. Will still need to split his focus and probably won't be able to commit so far to Ivy. Maybe early round AWP aggression can work. But in this case, he's going to avoid that one here. Doesn't want to be picked down. As you know, NaVi are probably waiting for them to push in, as they are working with only pistols.
There's not a lot they can do. They don't even have a flash. Flamey's going to get found out pretty easily there by Dennis. And if they just go one by one, it's a nothing round. Grouping up and trying to find a hole, that's a much better play. It's obviously you can get eco-slawed, get sprayed down, but one at a time when you have two guys with Glocks, you know, you're not going to have much success. Here we go. Just be one at a time. Finish him off nice and slowly.
Well, we gets one, but again, simple with the bomb. No chance to salvage a weapon here. You can see Fnatic really draw the line of scrimmage over on the A site, so not much step here for NaVi going to be allowed, and nor should it be on a round like this. Not the one you want to lose. The P250 that Edward used to secure himself a kill is going to be grabbed by Simple, but it won't perform as well in his hands now. And Fnatic stretched this one out to a 7-round lead. Now, they had some money problems earlier on here. It can always be a tricky game on that CT side, but hey, 7 rounds for Fnatic now, with a bit of money starting to build up here. Twist with 4.3, Lecro 5.4. And Olaf obviously rolling into here. They're pretty comfortable for the next few rounds.
NaVi should go for like a set strategy right now, probably towards the inside bomb site, because you know how aggressive Twist has been at Ivy. So if you go and hit inside, he's normally the second rotator back to in other than Olaf. So if you do this now, he's ages away. He's not going to be close. And not only that, they've set the precedent with the slow defaults that, hey, we're not really doing anything for the first 30 seconds. As Guardian finds a nice pick there onto Olaf, and they are heading towards the inside bomb site. Will they execute? That's the question.
Still got 2 players at Ivy, interestingly enough. So NaVi maybe even some late round pressure towards that part of the map to keep those 2 players on A honest and prevent them from rotating. But again, a bit of a big step back for NaVi here. They don't pressure up after killing Olafmeister. It's just going to be Simple left now on the lurk at B. And this might work out for him here. He's got Dennis on the other side of this corner. Comes in, spray down. Not going to be there. The headshot found by Dennis very early on. And he's only seen the one play here as well. He wasn't able to peek into Brownhall. So
unnecessary peek, mate. I'm sorry.
From
Simple. It's not needed. Like, yeah. I know there was a bit of aggression from Dennis, but they had the 4v5 advantage. This is where you group up as a unit. You don't want to be giving away kills individually like that. You need to play as a team at this point in the round. Because if you trade out effectively onto a bomb site in a 5v4 situation, you should be able to take the side and win the round. You know, that's basic maths.
Yep.
Now they're getting picked apart.
They had some sort of step to it. They've got 2 players at least to work with here, so NaVi definitely with a chance. Lecro trying to make ends meet with nothing but the UMP from the site here, and the range is a little bit hard for him to play around. Now, Twist also close by, tucked in towards the bomb site with himself an AWP. Guardian has one too, but he can't find the flick. Twist very, very solid here. Picking off a giant that is Guardian in that situation is huge for Fnatic now. An 8th round, perhaps, looking at them on the other side of this little play as Cease has to go through. It's a smoke towards connector, but that's not going to stop anyone because both Fnatic players are ready and waiting on the site. Lecro does the honors, and Fnatic go to 8.
They've got a nice little bank going now, so they're going to get themselves at least another 2 gun rounds, even if they lose the next 2 consecutive.
So for almost the whole half.
Yeah, they should be looking pretty, other than, you know, Dennis, he had to rebuy a lot. They only has 1.2, but the rest of the guys, you know, they should be able to salvage enough, even if we're talking, you know, a couple of pistols with utility. That's still better than a full eco. So they should be looking pretty for the next few rounds.
But I mean, let's look on the side of NaVi. Not really for them. Their gun rounds have essentially been squandered. They've had very limited result with them so far. In all seriousness, their save or pistol forces haven't really gotten them much more either. So we're looking to see them here change things up. Now, 3 Molotovs being brought up for NaVi, so they've got enough to maybe make and execute work up close.
Yeah, just to note, the way that Fnatic are playing, they are ready for the wall of smoke, and then they're happy to sit back and hope that NaVi push through it, because with these pistols, when they run out onto the site, even if they get the bomb down, Fnatic just wait out those smoke grenades. You know, they slowly, systematically clear out positions and retake. They have superior weaponry. You know, they don't have to fight in front of the smoke. And that's what we're seeing happen here.
Well, maybe the retake is going to be happening here. Winter comes around a corner, finds Seized. He was the bomb planter, and that bomb is down, but then there's kits on 4 players on Fnatic, so they have a lot of time to work with here. Simple's going to make the slow lurk over from B and hope for a flank from Connector, but that's going to be another 3 to 4 seconds away. Guardian needs to hold on in the meantime, and he can't. Necro finds him, push it around a corner, an easy pick up for him. Here comes Simple. The cavalry hasn't arrived. Well, a little bit of an underwhelming entrance for the man himself, and now just has to back around the side, try and get a pick with a pistol, and NaVi are getting absolutely nothing in these rounds. This time, Fnatic don't play that forward defense. They don't have Wenton sitting at E-box. They're happy to play back, and even with the flank coming in from Simple, it's not enough.
I'd like to see them try that again. You know, hope that Fnatic are going for a passive setup, do it with rifles, and then play some smart after plant positions. There's a cool little thing. The first time I saw do it was Heroic. It's where you throw it's between 5 train and the middle train, and you boost over, because you can get on the side of the middle train and you can get a guy on your head, you can boost over and you can see to Ivy. It's a cool little trick. It's a good way to find yourself a free kill, but it looks like they're going for the same old default strategy, nice and slow, relying on picks, using the information, tallying up the grenades getting thrown, and then making a decision.
This is normally what's so powerful for NaVi. Their defaults are incredibly strong now, but the pick... Oh, C's going to fall very, very early on there towards Ivy. Again, we see Twist asserting himself on that part of the map. He's going to deny any progress for NaVi there. Olafmeister's likely to be alive, though, to be honest with you. Double AWP coming in here for Fnatic, if that wasn't already mentioned, and Olaf still can do work despite only having under 10 points of health.
You notice how NaVi don't react instantly as soon as somebody dies. They're happy just to wait it out and see if more aggression comes in for a pick. Fnatic, once they get that 5v4 situation, they're not giving away anything. And Twist is just going to find another one. The guy is going beast mode right now.
Yeah, NaVi, like you said, not really adjusting, not really moving. So Twist can still sort of play his own game and sort of almost follow the motions, as it were. Well, Flamey flashed out briefly. You can see Edward now making his way over towards maybe joining him up, and Simple's just inside Pop Dog. The molly is there, and Fnatic have been anticipating these movements from NaVi very efficiently. Twist now moving forward here, right up against the train.
He's feeling it.
See confidence now starting to blossom for that man. Oh, the shot doesn't quite connect, though. This could be nasty. Flamey manages to catch him with his pants down, and now Wenton having to back up just a little bit here. Still confidence for Fnatic. They've got the man advantage despite Olaf being very, very low, and Wenton again just hits his lines. He finds them, and he dispatches of them. Bomb is loose over near Pop Dog, and Flamey picks it up, but he's cut down instantly now. With that one being well known to Fnatic, Edward has to cut through 3 players and get the bomb and plant it. Oh, that's a bit awkward. Dennis, bit of a surprise from above, but he's able to deal with it regardless. There, decent reaction from him. 10-3.
Should be able to buy again here. They should have enough. Yeah, they are going to buy into this. Just to note, NaVi need to do something together. They're getting picked one at a time, you know. Do something as a unit. When we saw them do the half pistol buy with the smokes, that was when they looked more dangerous, you know. They got themselves space. They found the plant. They made a couple of kills. And that was with bad weapons. Right now, they have AKs. If they did something as a unit, they could potentially trade out into a site. They have good firepower. They're just playing individual Counter-Strike right now.
Guardian now might be a later boost on towards the bin here over the smoke. But Twist is playing a far more passive angle towards Ivy this time.
Super late adjustment. Twist hasn't really let up at Ivy, and now he's gone, well, we have such a demanding lead. They're going to start, surely they're going to start targeting me here. And he's just taking his foot off the gas a bit.
The Molotov down. NaVi will have to play it slow. Now, Fnatic know this. They don't like to play it slow. Twist has been dominating Guardian at every turn so far in this game. There's another player there. The flash comes in. Twist and turns it away. And then the smoke comes in. So Seized isn't even going to try and capitalize or follow up on that.
Twist didn't lose anything there. You know, that smoke is not even deep enough to get him worried. The really deep smoke where it lands at the end and you think they could walk through either side, that's when you have to start guessing. Right there, they've gone, okay, well, he's probably not going to walk through that.
So it should be what, about a meter
further
closer?
out.
Yeah.
Much further, well, yeah, basically in the laneway itself. And then you can lurk out either side, and that takes away the vision. This way you can just watch the smoke as a CT, and your lines, you know, they're diminished. You don't have as many areas to watch. It is going to be an inside hit, but surely they're going to read this. They've already got 2 players inside. They've got a player close to rotate.
Wenton's in heaven.
Yeah, he's not too far away.
Well, Flash coming in, 2 for Olofmeister, the smoke actually to follow it up. There it is though, Olofmeister going to clean simple up, nothing he can really do there. Flaming out just having to brawl his way through on towards the side, and Caesar's going to get cut down. This is a bit of Olofmeister that we'd like to see. He's controlling, he's dominating, and he finishes NaVi off on that side easily enough. It's 4 kills for the man, and the Tech9 definitely, he does it just 1 round left in the half, and NaVi still riding off the back of the loss bonus, but still, it's not pretty.
Everyone on Fnatic is doing work when they need to. Lecro's sitting at the bottom of the scoreboard, but they've hardly gone inside, right? They went in just then, he wasn't able to do much. So you can sit there and say, yeah, he's down the bottom for Fnatic, but he's been pretty bored, I'd say.
Yep.
On the other side of things, NaVi, Guardian, the man who you look to open up sights with that orb, struggling on 3 frags. He's been getting shut down.
3 frags. Utterly smashed by Twist. Every single time we've seen them go head-to-head, it's been Twist coming out on top. That's just a huge accolade for this player. And now a bit of wallbang action. We've seen some cool stuff from here before. A bit of a tag. I think it was actually Simple who got tagged through there. I might have been via Virtus Pro in that game, which is very interesting to watch. But no, not this time. Just a couple of shots through, just keeping him honest. You're flaming down to 95. Not sure if that was a result of the wallbang. Wenton backing away. Bit of a spray on down, and C's going to try and get a bit of high ground control here. Can actually get a bit of a peek up, but there's Twist. Takes down his teammate Flaming. Well, he doesn't still know where he is. It's going to be Dennis now to get another one here. It's for Seized and Simple to fall, and this is just a massacre. And it's all about Fnatic right now. They just draw the Venn diagram of chaos over, and they make the most of it there. NaVi with nothing but 3 rounds in that first half. It's a mere pittance for a team that we've seen have such excellent and well-drilled executes on the T side.
Just to touch on that, with the executes coming in, the utility used by Fnatic's been perfect. The Molotovs have come in once the smokes have come over, that delays them, wastes time, you know, the smoke's slowly cooking away, and then they're isolating players one at a time. They're not able to push out as a unit. They're getting delayed perfectly by Fnatic.
NaVi have had a pretty darn good couple of weeks, but Fnatic are here to play. Let's see how it all finishes off now as we switch sides and see what Fnatic can do on the T side after the break. It may just be that today NaVi are barking up the wrong tree. Fnatic coming out very, very strong here on Train. A very unexpected turn of events if you've been looking at the past results for these two teams on this particular map. However, we still got another half of Counter-Strike to go here. We're going to see NaVi sort of play more on that CT side. But, you know, you sort of pointed out, you said a lot of the timings for utility use and stalling and responding to the pushes by Fnatic from NaVi has been very, very good.
Yeah, it looks like they did their homework. You know, Fnatic didn't want to give away picks early to NaVi, and the only part of the map that they heavily contested consistently was Ivy. That's where Twist decided, hey, I'm going to stop you guys from having this control, and they don't think they got it. They got it once, and it was the one gun round that I think, you know, that they won convincingly. So by stopping them on that part of the map, it was a great decision. I think right now, though, if I was Fnatic, I'd go super fast. You got so many rounds to work with. You got the momentum on your side. Get in their face. They're nervous. They know that they have to win every single round. Let's see something fast.
Well, all together for the moment here for Fnatic, and you can see them on the upper side now as well. Looks like B is their target, and NaVi within, well, I wouldn't say a stack, because Simple's in a position we can rotate back quickly, but with already 4 players committed and 2 towards the Ivy. So Fnatic can make the most of this lack of numbers here for NaVi on towards his B side if they do choose to make the quick push. It's 2 flashes for Olaf and a smoke. They've got a bit of utility to work with. Even a couple of decoys picked up. We'll see if they really mean anything at the end of the day now. But here comes the execute. We'll call it that for now, at least in terms of this pistol round. And it is going to be Fnatic pushing on towards the side. And this is pretty fast. Chad there speedily trying to take a bit of control of this one. Look at Winton all the way towards the back, and he finds Simple. That's a beautiful opening. It's traded out by Flamey, and the pressure's on. But Flamey holding in the heat like a fish stick. Khalid backing away, though, and Dennis gets himself 2. Looking for yet another one, but over the top it's Lekro. And this is exactly what the Doctor ordered for Fnatic. It's Guardian left on his own. Had a very quiet match. 3 frags for the half. That's 3 in 15 rounds, and now he's starting to pad that a little bit with 1 extra, but he's still got 2 plays to get through now. This is everything for NaVi. They absolutely need Guardian to go big here, but if this match has been a precedent, we wouldn't be expecting too much. Let's see, though. Back behind the train, doesn't quite spot his opponent there. That's Lekro playing hide and go seek with him. There's not enough time to work with. Guardian doesn't even have a kit, and it's all gone wrong for NaVi. They never really were in this round, to be honest. Fnatic, they dictated the flow, the pace, and they got themselves the pistol whip.
That's the perfect way to take it inside. So basically, Olaf threw the utility. He instantly covered backs in case of a fast flank. 2 guys ran into the side to plant the bomb. 1 to babysit the planter and clear out close. The other 2 pushed up real quickly. Once the bomb was down, all 4 of the members pushed up. That is perfect. That's what you want to do with Glocks. You need to close down that distance, get in the face of those guys with USPs, act as a pack, and just stop that retake. And that's exactly what they did. Great work by Fnatic.
Well, now NaVi have to respond. They need to bring this round back now. They've got the pistols to work with and a scout on Guardian, but no armor. And it looks like, again, Fnatic sending 4 players in towards the inner side. And Flamey, his deagle gets shut down at close range. He's got nothing to do but try and spray with it, but it's not going to be enough. Molotov in towards the back, and Winton deals with Simple easily enough. He is summarily executed, and that site is completely locked down.
They don't give NaVi a chance to react. They're keeping the foot on the throat of NaVi, and fast Counter-Strike is the way to do it. Few low members right now. They should be a little bit careful, but NaVi want to hold on to what they have. They don't have any rounds to work with. These weapons and armor is all they have. So if you were Fnatic, you'd be setting up, systematically calling, you know, this is clear, and closing in on these NaVi members, strangling them out. If you can take these guns off them, you're going to ruin the game for them. It'll be all over.
Olaf fancies it. Flash out. Does peek forward. All of NaVi concentrated down towards the bottom of Ivy, but they absolutely must hold these guns. Twist is going to go looking as well, gives himself away, but nice little damage on towards Guardian. He can't actually connect the hit. The aim punch is too much for him, but still he will survive. Just, it is going to be NaVi sustaining themselves into the next round. Endurance is going to be required here now. It's going to be a long climb to try and bring this game back in their control.
Good info just found out. They now know that Guardian has a scout, so they can play this round accordingly. I reckon just go hard in again.
Is that how you play against a scout? Just get in his face?
Just do it exactly. You want to close down the distance. You don't want to be taking 1v1 duels. You don't want to open yourself up to any peaks where he could just take your head off. Close down that distance, go hard and fast. If they do go inside again, it's going to work perfectly because Flamey's the only guy on the receiving end.
Oh man, match point before NaVi even buy real guns. That is incredible. Nonetheless, Cease managed to find Olafmeister here. He now is going to take his chance to assert himself in towards that one. Guardian hits the shot with a scout, but is hurt very, very badly. It's a nade that comes in on towards his dome, and Winton there is going to get the spray down on towards Flamey. It's a 3v2. Simple. Well, it's a P2K. Not really sure what he can do about that one. Lekro just absolutely punishes him for that one. It's Guardian with 13 points of health. That's not a lucky number for anyone anywhere in the world, and especially not this man right now with 3 players to deal with on the side of Fnatic. 3 players? Well, that's exactly how many rounds NaVi have had so far and how many kills Guardian had the first half. It's not a coincidence. It's just a bad day at the office for NaVi.
Guardian's one of the best players in the world, but if he pulls this off, he's a magician. There's no way this is happening. I guess he wants to hold on to this scout or try and upgrade as he whiffs. That's a hard kill. Like, people see that and they go, oh, he misses, he's bad. When people are running and not looking at you, it is probably the hardest kill. You're used to, when you play deathmatch, right, you're shooting people in the face. Like, when you play aim map, people are always looking at you. In this situation, when you catch somebody off guard, like Guardian just did, his side was turned to him. You know, you don't know which direction he's running. It's harder to gauge, and they're not easy shots to hit.
Well, Chad, the buy comes in here at least. It could well be the last stand for NaVi in this particular map. They lost Cobblestone 16-3 to Virtus Pro as well earlier on, if you remember that in the week. But Guardian opens up nicely. It's a pick on towards Lecro to start proceedings here. He maybe got a little bit too big for his boots, peeking out of that T-tunnel. All right, now, swim simple back on towards this B side. Olaf just going to open up the pleasantries here with a bit of a spray onto B, but no result to come of it now as Fnatic just need to work with 4. Not impossible, definitely within their grasp here, but knocking that AWPer of Lecro might be a little bit trickier.
Looks like they're slowing down a little bit right now. They had a lot of utility to work with. I'm not sure what they were planning with Lecro. Maybe just getting him out in the yard and you know, scaring NaVi, making them use whatever utility they had. He went down really early, which is obviously not ideal. And now Fnatic, they need to regroup. Inside is the normal place to hit this when you're down a member. It seems like a place where you could potentially catch the CTs off guard with only one member there. Unfortunately for them, Flamey and Simple are both in the site and ready and waiting.
And that Molotov there, you can see thrown out by Dennis, just that standard spot where people often sit and hold. Apex, for example, loves to sort of sit there on the CT side. But let's get on to this one. NaVi pushing in, Twist responds. A little bit of trading back and forth, but now it might be just shifting in the favor of Fnatic. Twist, huge pick on towards Simple there. What a great way to turn things on in this head in this round. And now it's Guardian and Seize. The bomb is already planted. They have to keep themselves in the game in this particular round. And with only 2 players to work with here, Twist is low. Guardian looking for the peak. The timing doesn't favor him, but Dennis, you better believe he's a Deadeye in that kind of situation. It's Seize to get the spray on towards Dennis, but no, it won't be enough. And Fnatic roll over the top of NaVi. Not even remotely close, ladies and gentlemen. An absolute stomp here. Has Fnatic, this newer roster, starting to coalesce, starting to form, starting to excel. NaVi, another way to highlight a bit of an average run over the last couple of days of Pro League.
Yeah, well, we've seen them do a lot of default stuff, and once again, they did it and they got shut down. It looked like Fnatic had done their homework. They'd played around setups that NaVi have done over and over again, and it worked perfectly. Would have loved to see a bit more aggression out of NaVi. They're not known for it, but they definitely can throw it into their playstyle. Fnatic, though, on fire.
Yeah, really, really nice stuff from them. I mean, they paved the way with that CT side. They essentially nullified any attempt for NaVi to try and take control of any of those sites. But now, there's not really much to talk about here in a short game, but let's see what the desk has for us anyway.
Well, what do you say about that one? 16-3, NaVi, unable to get anything really going. And it's not the first time, like they said already, in the ESL Pro League just last week. In fact, we saw them losing 16-3 to Virtus Pro as well. It really has just been a bit of a, really hard to predict for NaVi. We were expecting that to go the way. The desk was leaning towards NaVi, and understandably so. Fnatic, an unknown entity. But Yanko, I have to start with you. I mean, I've been talking to Henry off air, but what do you make of Fnatic just blowing up like that?
Yeah, well, I said that NaVi blowing out Fnatic is not going to be the case because they're a skilled team individually, right? They can start off on the CT side, get a good start, and then we might have a close game, and that's exactly what happened. They did get off to a strong CT side, especially the aggression towards Ivy. I mean, Twist sometimes even all by himself, flashing in through the smoke, getting kills. It seemed that they did their research on NaVi, figured out how they like to play, and the way you beat NaVi on CT side is when you can keep their economy pressured for most of the half, right? You saw that NaVi wanted to reset Fnatic's economy early on, went into force buys. They didn't have that many rounds where they had like full utility.
Yeah, the thing is as well, the most successful rounds for NaVi, apart from the rounds they won, obviously, were actually when they were doing the set pieces with the smokes and the Tech-9s. That's when they were getting the bomb down the majority of the time. But Fnatic, they had a great setup there. Twist especially, this aggression. This was one of the particular rounds, actually, when they would on the brink of a reset. They won the previous round. They didn't have much money going into it. I think it was our round number 8. And they knew they had to do something. Right? They had to step up and try and find that first frag. Twist throughout that game was controlling Ivy in a perfect manner. That round he pushes with the UMP, finds 2 kills with the flashbang, and actually is a really strong performance from overall. I was speculating at the start that Olaf Meister was the main AWPer for them now, but it seems like Twist, at least on this map, he was taking the helm of that role. Olaf was coming in every now and then, but it seemed to be the majority of the work done by Twist, which is quite cool to see.
Well, I mean, the 2 points you've made are probably a reason that contributes to the fact that Guardian was unable to perform. You said already they kept NaVi's money down. You said already Twist was hitting a lot of shots with that AWP, and those combined resulted in a very poor performance from the star AWPer, Mr. Guardian. 3 frags in the first half.
It's how Train works, right, as a map. Ivy is probably the most important part for the terrorist side, because that's where they can exert pressure, take some control, and force CTs into uncomfortable positions, that and brown holes. And you could see that Twist, mostly by himself, was shutting down Ivy all the time, whether it was seized or Guardian tried tried to go there with the op. You know, he was really dominant this half. And when you have 3 players in Fnatic having over 100 ADR, that just tells you that it's been a super dominant win for them.
So when it is a 12-3 half and you're going into the second, is that GG already?
No, definitely not. Especially on a map like Train as well. Like, it's no reason why you can't do the exact same serving as what they did to you. As long as you win the pistol, that's obviously the first
Step
objective. And then you just take round by round. You can't really look at the scoreboard in that sense. There's always a game to be had, right? But if you do lose the pistol, you start questioning yourself then. You start thinking, well, this is going to get a little bit harder now. But then you always have to force by in the second. You have to, like, look to the future, right? If you do go 3-0 down against a match point at that point, I think you do know it's over. But if you win the pistol, there's always a chance.
The only reason I asked is just because we've been seeing more and more T rounds accumulated on Train as time has gone on. People have got better and more kind of refined on their T sides, and we've been seeing closer splits of halves. 12-3, Yanko, you can't help but... Did you start expecting that game to be ending rather swiftly when you saw Fnatic's form?
I mean, I knew it would depend. I knew there was still a chance for a close game if Navi wins pistol and gets a good start, because they're obviously a strong team as well. Individually, they are a match for Fnatic, right? But I really liked the way Fnatic played their second round, right? After winning pistol, they just brute forced their way into the B bomb site, going lower straight up and getting the first kill, and that pretty much cements the round. You don't want to spread out against a team like Navi, which has Flamey, Simple, with the Deagles, Guardian, with the Scout, right, getting tagged and getting picked apart. So they realized that just go straight for an all-in play, and it pays out.
Yeah. And it did pay out for Fnatic, 16-3 in our first map of the series. We have a lot to look forward to. There's Dust 2 will be the next battleground where these two teams will clash. And before we can show you that, we have to once again remind you about an application that you can get on your phone. It's available on iOS and Google Play, so any smartphone will do it. It'll enable you to keep track of all of the good esports, gossip, news, articles, and even some statistics as well. To keep track of exactly how well the boys from Fnatic did perform, how well Twist played with that AWP, all of that's available on your phone on the go. So you go check that out, and when we return, we'll be talking about Dust 2 and seeing if NaVi can bounce back on the second.